What's up, everyone? It's April 26th. It is about 7:45 in the morning, and we are out here at the public land spot. We're driving around right now on some of the roads that are inside of the boundaries, trying to see if we can spot anything out in the field real quick. We're kind of checking the parking lots before we just go in blind. Might maybe get lucky. I definitely have had some luck in the past where I've pulled up and caught them out in the fields, so we'll see. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, we just got to the spot and we've already spotted a couple of turkeys out in the field, so I'm grabbing everything real quick and we're getting ready to try and loop out in front of them, so we'll see you guys here in a little bit. All right, everyone, so we just spotted a couple of turkeys out in the field and we didn't know what they were. Thought it was just a couple of hens. The one for sure looked like one, but they both had heads down. So we ended up trying to loop out in front of them and got inside of about 40 yards, tall grass stuff, and ended up spooking a Jake out. I was able to take a shot. It was right at about 40 yards, right as he took off, but hit a little low. I saw a couple feathers fly off the front of his chest. I think I let a little too hard, but saw where he went, and we've looped way out in front of him, and now we're getting ready to start working onto the far side of this ridge system that I think he's heading to, and got some hen decoy. I got one of those freaky Jake decoys. I'm just gonna set up somewhere near where I think he's heading. We're gonna see if we can't call him in, or maybe potentially another bird altogether. See how it goes. I would end up successfully looping out and around, getting in front of this turkey several hundred yards from where we just were. Would call him into about 200 yards, but he ended up getting spooked. Spent several hours trying to get him fired back up, but was unsuccessful, so I hit the road. What is up, everyone? So just a quick update. We were able to find one gobbler, and we just had another one gobble. So I am parking the car right now. We're about to go see if we can't make it happen. We got an hour and 45 minutes. I think we can do it. Guys, I got turkeys in front of me. I'm gonna try and fan them in. At this point, the turkeys are about 500 yards from my location, on a high point, looking down towards this giant oak tree that I had just snuck up to using my turkey decoy. So I would spend about 5 minutes trying to call and fan these turkeys in. I would only pique their interest. They'd never seem to want to come off that high point, so I ended up moving forward, and here's what happened. All right, everyone, we got a few turkeys out in front of us. Probably about 200 yards, 250. I can close about another 100 yards getting up to that brush pile. Try and use the decoy, fan them in, and see if we can't film it all too. Wish us luck. I have now closed the distance another 250 yards from my original location. At this point, the only option I have left to do is to lay down on my belly and crawl out into the opening with my decoy and hope everything works, because we're all in on this one. During this crawl, I would end up closing about another 50 yards distance between me and the Jakes before I had to stop, stake the turkey into the ground, and just wait her out. No way. Guys, 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 look at that. Look at that, son. 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 Look at that. Woo! Yeah. Dude. No way. No way. Yes. Guys. No freaking way. I called in too. Ah. Let me get it together. I'm sorry guys, so for those of you who don't know, I just got off of work and literally was like, I'm tired, I'm worn out, I don't know if I should go ahead and go out to the woods or just take a nap. You know, what should I do? Even asked some of the co-workers, what should I do? And well, a couple of the co-workers said, go out to the woods, it's what you love, it's what makes you happy. And sure enough, come out here, right out the gate, I spot a couple out in a field, and I tried to work that Tom. It ended up not working out. He was a little bit closer than I thought when I dropped the pin. So what ended up happening, I spooked him. It was about 40 yards. He jumped up out of the tall like hay grass stuff like this, and I peppered his tail basically, and he got away, flew several hundred yards. I watched where he landed and ended up cutting out way out in front of him, and I called him into about 200 yards, and he was coming in, he was gobbling and everything, and ended up having a conservation agent or worker, whatever it is, on a tractor with a rolling pin coming down the service road that I was just a little ways off of on the edge of the field, and that turkey ended up getting up out of there, so never could strike him back up after about 2 hours. So decided to hop back in the vehicle and ride around, and I just drove down this back road and parked on the side right on the public and sat I did it probably 6 spots, ended up stopping over here, and I ended up doing some crow calls, did some owl hoots, didn't get anything off of those, so I said okay, we'll go ahead and throw some yelps out. Ended up hearing a gobble, so I marked the pin, dropped back, parked in the parking lot, and well, ended up spotting these two about 150 yards, 200 yards from where I dropped the pin. So I'm actually parked way over here, and I just come in on this tree line because I thought that they were either up on this ridge, figured the gobblers would be up on this ridge looking for their hens down in the bottom, waiting to hear from them. And well, sure enough, where's it at? Right there, where that gap is, that's where the trail cuts in. There's 3 of them up there. I don't know where the third one ended up. I'm assuming it was probably a hen, and this was, I think it's 2 jakes by the look of it. So I know mine's a jake, but ended up being able to film this. I can't believe that. That's probably a 30-yard shot. I should have let them get in a little bit closer, but I couldn't film it anyways, as far as from your guys's stand view. So there's the decoy. Here's the bird. I'm gonna take some pictures, get them checked in, and get on out of here. Well, everyone, I cannot believe we got it done. So, as you can see, this is just a jake, but in Missouri they're legal, and I'm more than happy to take a jake. They all eat the same. Yeah, it was an epic hunt. So got off of work at 6:30 this morning, came out here to this piece of public land, was doing a lot of driving around, parking, doing some calling from the road.
I ended up spotting a couple hens out in the field, and I looped around on them trying to see if I could get out in front of them, place a decoy up, get the cameras all set up, and maybe call them in and bring in a Jake or Tom as well. However, that's not how it played out. We ended up spooking a Tom trying to loop in around him. He happened to be on the other side of the hill that I was accessing to loop in behind them, or out in front of them. So he blew out of there, ended up just striking up one more after that and tried to get it to come in, but that just didn't go our way either. Ended up having a conservation employee coming out and was driving down one of the access roads with a rolly pin behind it, and well, anybody that's been around farm equipment or used one of those knows it's a really, really loud tool, especially when it's hitting the gravel. So long story short, after I ended up seeing that Tom that I was working, he was at 200 yards and closing the distance when that happened. So I never saw him again, tried to strike him up for 2 hours, just ended up giving up. Hopped in the car, started driving around all the roads around this piece of public land and trying to strike him up from the road. Pulled over. This was probably the 6th stop, and ended up doing a crow call, did some owl hoots, and none of those worked. It ended up probably being, I don't know, it was probably a total of like 10-15 minutes of me sitting there. Threw out some hen yelps and ended up getting a gobble, and it was, gosh, probably, I bet you it was probably 1,000 yards away, maybe a little further. It ended up being up on this ridge that's off to my right, and what ended up happening, I backtracked and parked at the parking lot. I actually could see my car from where I shot these birds at. Came in on this wood line, and as soon as I was getting about, I bet you 450 from him, 400 yards, 450 from him, got to this tree that's behind me, and I spotted him and ended up, was able to sit here for probably 5 minutes fanning them with the decoy. They got a little skittish when I was crawling into the tree and kind of stepped off the trail, saw it was another turkey, and ended up stepping back out. And they were kind of ruffling their feathers, but they weren't wanting to come in from that distance. So we played the game for a minute, ended up saying screw it. We had good luck the other day trying to do a fanning scenario, sneaking up on them, and we just didn't have the shotgun. We had the longbow. We were out there in Kansas, and yeah, so today that's what gave me the confidence to go ahead and try and do that. So I scurried about 40 yards from where we're sitting at this tree, maybe about 30 to where the fence is, crawled underneath it, got behind a brush pile, big long brush pile, and was able to close probably 120, 130 yards. And whenever I peeked around the edge of it, they had also closed probably another 80 yards as well, coming down the main, the little access trail. So I get down on my belly at that point, and I crawl to the edge of the trail with my decoy sitting there in front of me, and I'm self-filming with my phone because I left the cameras at the car. All the batteries died from this morning's scenario. Ended up getting up to the edge of the trail, and they saw the decoy and was like, yeah, you're in the wrong city, boy. We're coming to get you. So I stuck him in the ground, pulled the shotgun up underneath of the turkey, was laying on my belly the whole time, and stationed my phone in the grass, and was lucky enough to be able to pop a 20-yard shot off. Called 2 Jakes in. I could have got him a little closer, but figured take the good clear shot. They kept coming in neck and neck right beside each other the whole time, so I figured may as well just take the close-up shot that's definitely ethical and very lethal, and gonna do the same thing at 5 foot, you know. So we'll just take that shot and be done with it. But we're gonna go ahead and cut out this video. We're gonna get some photos taken and get on down the road. We already got it checked in, so we're good to go. Missouri hunting, baby. Let's go to Kansas. Strange Woods Outdoors.
at that, everyone. Missouri season is over. Let's get on to Kansas. Heck yeah. I'll still be hunting a lot of Missouri in the sense of behind the camera. I'll be filming for a lot of friends on my days off and any other chance that I get as we move through the rest of Missouri season. But primarily, I'm focused on Kansas now. And I could not be more stoked about it. Let's get it. 2022 turkey tour. Strange Woods Outdoors. Yeet! This is Damon here at Strange Woods Outdoors, and I personally want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments, and also share it with some friends if you liked it. Thanks guys, have a good time.